So I think what we saw today was one aspect of a common challenge that we have with CPQ, which is how do we make that kind of a user experience simple for people who are using CPQ, right? Rather than clicking through multiple steps and going through that whole process of configuring codes, can we just simplify it? And we saw it through a chatbot. We could have equally demonstrated it to you with a salesperson just being on a call and saying, configure a code like this, and the system does it. So that is one part of it. When we think about the whole coding process itself, there's a lot more that is going on. We work very closely with technology companies. Often what that means is that in their use cases, before a rep comes to a point where they're generating a code, they're working with the customer to understand what their needs are. There could be Ps, there could be questionnaires, there could be estimators or sizers, all sorts of tools that people work through where they're trying to gather information to even determine what they need to sell. In that scenario, often what we see is that these are two disconnected sets of tools. And then there is this whole user in the middle who's trying to intermediate this interaction. So they first try to estimate what to sell, then they have to go into CPQ and configure all of it, and then try to put together a quote for the customer. All that is manual effort. That is on the one side, right? On the other side, from a business perspective, what's going on is that, again, I'll take the example of a tech company. Coming up with a new offer. I want my customers to upgrade to that quickly, do early renewals, all sorts of things. And I'm trying to enable that with different types of promotions, right? I might give some upgrade credits. I might have early renewal credits. I might do those types of things where I'm helping customers to migrate to my latest and greatest offering as soon as possible. Often as implementation partners who are supporting these types of customers, we find that when we have to set up these types of additional business roles, then that becomes a challenge because CPQ has to be enhanced. You have to have additional business logic that you need to set up that can be complex, right? For one of our customers, just helping them create a visualization of what the customer today has in their installed base. And if you're doing an upgrade, how to apply these credits and so on and so forth. And how do you move from what is there to what they should be moved to can be very challenging, right? That can be a project for several months, right? So that is, if you think about the classic Salesforce CPQ or any CPQ type of an environment, then we are thinking that all of this logic needs to be built within CPQ. But what is interesting now is that when you think about AI, you're able to do a lot that you're doing with data within CPQ, just the way you saw it right now. But you're also able to synthesize that with data that might be sitting outside of CPQ because your models, your LLMs you can teach them on data that may not be within Salesforce itself. So your additional business rules around how you want to apply upgrade credits or renewals, early renewal credits or so on, can be sitting outside of Salesforce. Similarly, whatever you're capturing in your estimator ultimately leads to a configuration or a product that you're trying to sell that may be sitting outside of Salesforce. And you can teach LLM to learn from all of that so that some of your interactions here are around, I want to do this upgrade and I want to co-terminate it with so-and-so or whatever that is. And then additional rules that flow in from, if you're doing an early upgrade, apply these credits can automatically apply. And when you create a code, your code already captures all of this synthesized information about what was sized, how, what kind of other business rules apply, and your code is all there. And then the power of agentic workflow on top of that means you can do this in ways where a lot of the grunt work can be taken out. So your code is automatically created. It is automatically routed for approvals. The email is drafted and ready to go for the customer after your review. So all those things are very feasible, very doable right now, even within Salesforce CPQ today itself, right? So you can see that what GPT-5 does is it provides you a framework to do all of these things together.